What's good, fellas? I was away this week, so didn't really have a chance to do prep or get anyone lined up to be on the pod here. So wanted to make sure got something out, before the games on Thursday. So just gonna dive in right off the rip here and get going about reviews. So I lost a tough one here to Ryan. Not bad, about 110 at all. I beat one, two, three, four, five, six teams. So middle of the way. Decent performance. Obviously, Sam Darnold putting up 4 points in London didn't help me very much. I wouldn't say it's a difference in the game, but certainly didn't help. And looking at Ryan here, just a really strong week yet again. Another great week from Lamar. Just again, he's been phenomenal in fantasy football. Uh, just crushing it, and probably on pace to most likely win his MVP if he keeps this up. So, good for Ravens fans, good for Ryan. Brian Thomas looks like he'll be the steal of the draft. Dude's been phenomenal as a rookie. Juwan Jennings kind of has slid down into nothingness. That offense seems a little weird right now, and with Debo back, and IU kind of starting to play better. Jennings is kind of sliding back into that third situational, not as many targets, not a lot of opportunity, but great showings from these running backs. Swift yet again, really solid up and down 133 score. Gets done easily here against me. So we had a really tight game here. Team Nate pulls out the upset against the Moody White. Really close game here. So I mean, you can look into it. Even winning by one with a three from Justice Hill, three from Wicks. Shaheed Evans and Gino and Sermon was a nice spot start. So those guys kind of carry the weight there. Get the job done. Looking over at the Moody White, decided to sit Kyle Pitts. Don't blame him at all. That's clearly the difference. Really, the only difference that's there on the bench right now. Just not much you can do. I don't blame him at all for playing Cole Kmet against that really poor Carolina pass defense. 7.2, still a really good score. Obviously, you'd like to see a little bit more out of Pickens there too. He's certainly earned the ability to show that he can score more than that. Slayton keeps it close with the Giants. No neighbors, no problem for this team. Substitutes that very well. But yeah, nothing really wrong here. Just a good old fashioned close game where you can nitpick, but man, just really really cool to see close games. I'd like to see more of them instead of these blowouts we've been having. Team Coleman versus the Pizzle here. I will say it to Justin's credit. He certainly made some trades, and some guys haven't liked those trades, giving away some of those players, especially with the week that Garrett Wilson just had. We'll see how he bounces in the future. But Godwin had a down week. Moss had a down week, but Burrow leading the charge, put up 120 this week. That beats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. So I mean, we're talking about probably a guy that should have got his first win this year. But it said TE has to go up against Team Coleman. Again, still nothing out of the tight end spot, but appears not to be an issue this week. Just guys, Ayuk, Drake London continued to be, well, London, I should say. That's a guy that I'd like to talk about for a minute, just for the fact that we gave Tyler so much shit on Drake London. Really has asserted himself here as, a guy. And you look at that target, his targets are going up every single week. He's the focal point of the offense. Sorry, Mike, on your Bijan Robinson love. I think Bijan's fantastic too. Just unfortunate that you have him on your team. This is what the numbers that Bijan was putting up, right? But now you're not getting that out of him quite yet. London's been phenomenal. I expect this just to continue. I don't know about 29 points, but I mean, look at these targets. So you can expect 10 targets a game, and he scored a touchdown in 3 of the last 4 weeks. So pretty impressive stuff there. I would say him and Kirk certainly seem to be jiving well. So kudos to Tyler for sticking with that. These running backs continue to be good. Tyrone Tracy, I think this is a second good, or let's see, at the spot start here. I think Singletary was a little banged up. Had some running back situations. Dowdle on the bench had a nice game too. But yeah, just 137, really solid score. Mahomes continues to struggle in fantasy. So I'm curious what ends up moving forward with that as far as his quarterbacking play. I doubt he makes a move, but you could certainly look to upgrade there with the pieces that this guy has on his bench. Certainly has the firepower to go get a upper level quarterback to really make this team probably. I mean, I know they're 2-3, but man, this could really be the team to beat. Yeah, so just really good week there. But yeah, really good performances for both teams. A little bit unlucky that Justin ran into a really strong opponent here. So speaking of Mike and underperforming Bijan Robinson, went up against Mind Goblin, who just continues to slide here. No CMC is now a problem. It was no problem there for a minute, but yeah, just the receivers did nothing, tight end did nothing. Well, Pittman was solid again with Flacco under the helm, but I believe Pittman, I don't know if he's hurt, but some regression should be. Yeah, he is hurt. So yeah, he's probably not going to play this week. And yeah, we'll see. Christian Watson he got hurt. He didn't play. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. Tough situation with this team with no CMC. That's kind of the freight train of this powerhouse. Him, Hubbard, and Robinson would be a really nice 1-2-3 punch. Don't have to rely on Debo and Kincaid as being, Kincaid's been a little bit shaky anyway, but just 186 or 86 points, I should say. Not what you want to see, not going to get it done. Mike had a nice day, got Flowers in there who had a great day against, everyone on the Ravens had a good day against Bengals. Mooney is a guy that I had kind of inquired with him earlier. We didn't figure out a trade quite exactly for that. Kind of wish we did because I would be starting Mooney every week. Him and Kirk Cousins seem to really gel. That Kirk's throwing the ball over the field, so not relying on that run game as much as we all thought that the Falcons would. But yeah, just up and down, really solid performances. I mean, your lowest score is 5.5. I think most teams would take that. A lot of really big boom performances here. Love was solid. Collins injured, but still had a good game. Stevenson bounced back nicely against that struggling Miami team, even though Miami got the win. And like I said, Flowers had a nice day. So just really solid performance from Mike here. It was still 3-2. So Milkman versus Team Bucher. Team Bucher puts up another solid number here. Obviously, Jamar Chase steals the show, makes this a blowout. Or else it would have probably been a pretty tight game because everyone else on the team really underperformed. So nice when you can get, and Kyler, he talked to me about Kyler a little bit and how that's kind of just been a man, he's looked really good or he's looked really bad type of situation. So he felt like Purdy would be a good time to go against Arizona. Didn't work out, but didn't matter. Got the win, so I guess you could say it did. There's Garrett Wilson on the bench with 24 points. Just really solid roster here up and down as you look at it. A lot of points on the bench, still 128 in the lineup. Just gonna be really tough to beat this team week in, week out, especially with these guys clicking. Because Harrison and Mason and frankly Kenneth Walker and Purdy aren't going to put up these kind of numbers every week. So this is really a team that's kind of shown they are going to put up a lot of points every week, and you're going to have to bring your A game and get a little bit lucky to where your whole lineup's going to score. But yeah, so I will say this about the Milkman team's been struggling a little bit in regards to just again, Tyreek Hill's been really down. 10 points this week isn't what you want to see. Josh Allen, I mean, everyone again kind of underperformed a little bit here for the most part. Just didn't see not a lot of firepower going on this team right now. Tank Bigsby still on the show for ETN, and Wandale on the bench was an interesting play considering that he was going to be wide receiver 1 this week. But I don't know if you plug him in over those two receivers. So probably wouldn't have made much of a difference anyway. So just tough showing there. And Rock Boys 5-0, squeaks by here with a 94-point win against team that we thought a few weeks ago was going to be the upper echelon of the league with these running backs. They have really fallen here. There's been injury issues on the rear view camera. Breece Hall's been down. Chain's been down. They need Tua back, and I don't know what's going on with Breece Hall. But yeah, just Bowers continues to be a powerhouse. A Bauer house, I should say. And yeah, just a lot of bye week issues this week as well. But this team has the potential to get right, but really is moving in the wrong direction right now. I'm assuming these guys are going to kind of return to form and the running back room to kind of reassert this team as a powerhouse top 4 team in this league. Looking at the Rock Boys here, Gets it done. Kirko Chains on the bench, crushed it. And Kareem Hunt on the bench, crushed it. I don't think he's going to be on the bench much longer. He looks great in that Kansas City offense. I think they might be on bye. I think they're on bye this week. So no start this week for him. But coming out of that bye, I'd expect him to be an option at least until Pacheco comes back. And just a lot of nothing burgers here, but just gets enough done to carry out a win here. Kickers were the difference, unfortunately, for Ed. So looking ahead here, I got the Pizzle coming off a hot performance where he put up 110. So just looking at this here, don't love the fact that Mixon might be back. It's not my favorite thing. Cincinnati against that Giants defense. I don't know how I feel about that one. That Giants team has been a little bit surprising this year with how well they've been playing. I think Godwin has a bounce back week. J-Mo's boomer bust. And we'll see. A lot of these new faces that were traded over last week are in here for the Pizzle, who's projected to beat me by 6. And then looking at my team, I get my starters back. I think Derrick Henry has a field day with the Commanders. Yeah, I've been picking against myself a lot lately. I do like myself to win here. I think this projection's a little bit not great. I think Tank Bigsby's going to have a much bigger day than 6 points. He's been really getting the ball a lot more, and they kind of seem to be using him a lot on the first and second downs and limiting ETN. So Tank has that boom potential. So yeah, it's a risky play, but I'd rather play him than Taji Spears. But I just think Jade Breed, DJ Moore have really been moving in the right direction for me. So yeah, I'm gonna pick myself here to get the win and move the Pizzle to 0-6. But I wouldn't be surprised if I lost this one by any stretch of the imagination. This Pizzle team is moving in the right direction. It'd be nice to see him go on a little bit of a run here, make himself competitive for the playoffs. But we shall see how that transpires. So next we have Team Coleman versus Team Nate. Team Nate coming off that good win last week. Hard to imagine you're going to get those electric performances from all those guys that you had. That's really what you're going to need. He does get AJ Brown back, which is really big for this team. We'll see how he looks coming back. I believe it was a hamstring. So it's always weird how guys come back from those against the Cleveland secondary. That's proven that pretty good. So yeah, it's a little bit tough sledding there for a lot of those matchups. Tennessee's defense has been really solid. Justice Hill, we'll see. He's a little bit touchdown dependent, obviously. He gets the ball out of the backfield a lot, so we shall see how that goes. And Mike Evans versus Saints, Lattimore, I think, wins that battle more than he loses it. So that could be a down spot for Mike Evans. And Rashid Shaheed is just a pure boomer bust guy. Either catches a 60-yard touchdown or he does not, and that's really about it. Seemed to come down with him a lot, though, to his credit. Looking at Tyler here. Yeah, James Cook's really been struggling lately, still at RB6. I think you could see a good game for him with the Jets here. That defense has been pretty solid. But I think they're just going to kind of feature Cook a lot moving forward. I think they need to, coming off 2 losses. They haven't used him as much, relying on Allen too much. He was 9 for 30 last week. I need to get back to what they were doing the first 3 weeks, which is just running the ball and feeding that running game and getting James Cook his touches. Daniel Jones starting this week since Patrick Mahomes is on bye. That Cincy defense is bad, so I don't hate this start at all. Daniel Jones will be just fine and serviceable here. Ayuk really looks good here. We'll see about Thursday nights in Seattle. Tough place to play. Pretty strong secondary there, so we'll see. Drake London should be poised for another big week. Kate Otten, new tight end in the room here. And JK back in the starting lineup, along with Montgomery in there against that terrible Dallas defense. So yeah, I think these projections are pretty fair. I think Coleman wins this game pretty easily. Where I could see Team Nate making a push is if Shaheed catches that big ball, right? That's really what this could come down to. San Francisco generally holds Geno Smith down, so I could see him missing his projection, but I think Shaheed could boom for that 20, 25 point game and really make this a nail biter. But I'm going to lean Coleman here for the win. We got Moody White versus Risky Dipper. Moody White coming off that tough loss to Team Nate last week. A lot of underperforming players. Gets Barkley back off a bye. That's fantastic for him because Barkley's been really the only good Eagles player this year as far as consistency goes. Rashad White continues to lose carrying time to Bucky Irving. We shall see if that continues. And yeah, Malik Neighbors should be back this week, so that's really big for this team. Pitt's back in the lineup. Tough matchup for JSN. Goes against my rule of putting guys in the flex for Thursday night, but you do you. I know you're busy, George, so you just setting the lineup and forgetting it is not the worst strategy ever either. So yeah, I like this lineup a lot. I think the projection feels pretty good. The only pushback I give is Njigba having a down game. And I could see that New England defense kind of limiting Stroud and then kind of relying on the running game. I think it's going to be a lot of short fields. They have May starting this week for New England. So I could see this game kind of getting a little bit big and the Saint or the Texans just running out the clock a little bit, controlling the time of possession. So could see it down way for Stroud. Those are really the ways that I see him not meeting that projection. Looking at Mike here, Jordan Love, he's been throwing the ball over the place, getting healthier each week. Bijan against that Carolina defense should have a nice day. DK against San Francisco. I don't know how I feel about that. That San Francisco defense has been not quite as good as you'd want them to be this year. Does have Mooney in there this week. I think that's fantastic. Collins on IR obviously kind of makes that decision easy. Muth, Flowers. Yeah, I mean, do I think this projection is a little bit low? I do. I think a lot of these guys can boom. I think Mooney can boom. I think Stevenson can boom. I think Bijan can boom to make this, 120, 125 kind of game for Mike. So I do feel his projection is a little bit low, but I will say, man, I'm going to lean Mike here. I'm going to pick Mike. I just like his matchups a little bit more. I think he's got a lot more boom potential than George does, and Cleveland's defense can stop the run. Rashad White, I don't think you're going to get 11 out of him. So, and I think Njigba has a down week so. And if DK picks up the slack for JSN, then obviously that's going to be a big flipping point for Mike. So I'm going to take Mike here in an upset win to get this one done. Mind Goblin versus Milkman. This is an interesting game with two teams going the wrong direction. Mind Goblin hasn't set his lineup yet. Wonder if that changes. We saw this a few years ago when he got off to a slow start. He decided to just stop playing for the year. So you don't want to see that, just for fairness of the league. Things of that nature. But assuming he gets, let's see, running backs, doesn't really have. I mean, Ray Davis is looking lined up to start. He'll move Brian Robinson up, and then probably get Jacoby Myers in there. So that bumps you. 10.82. Needs a kicker. He'll go get one. So that puts him about 90. And Pittman's doubtful, so he's got to get him out. Man, injury issues all over the place here. So he's got some work to do. Projection probably ends up around 90 to 95 with a healthy lineup here. I think Milkman, just based off of that's going to win. Watson, I think, is terrible. He needs to get. I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves him in because Rodgers doesn't be great either. Yeah, that Falcons defense has shown the ability to stop the run, so Chuba might not be as explosive. Debo at Seattle, we'll see. Again, kind of all these receivers tonight. I'm a little bit wary about just two solid defenses rolling here, and yeah, just could they can choose to lock up who they want, whether it's going to be DK or JSN or Debo or Ayuk. It could be anyone's game. Kincaid, you can't put any trust in to put up any sort of consistent numbers. And then just looking at Milkman here, he actually Tyreek's on bye, so that makes sense. But yeah, got Ridley in there, which boomer bust guy for sure. Indy defense has shown no propensity to stop guys in the air, though, so it could be a big week for Ridley. Deontay Johnson, this is a must start at this point with Dalton playing quarterback. ETN losing touches to Tank, against that Chicago defense that isn't great against the run. So ETN should be fine. Najee's just bad at football, man. I think it's time to hang it up with that dude. Man. I mean, you got to start him, right? But he's just not been good. Fields is an argument to play this week again with that favorable matchup against that Raiders defense. Comparatively to Josh Allen against the Jets, and Allen's not been playing well, probably still has brain damage. Chase Brown is a fantastic start. I think he's a great week. So this projection, thinking of like 105, 95. I think Milkman wins a close one here. Don't love either of these teams moving forward, but yeah, this is really not a great spot. A lot of these injuries and bye weeks are starting to take a toll on some of these teams in the league. So, good matchup here. We got number 1 versus number 2 in the league right now. The Couch versus the Rock Boys. I think Lamar has a great day. Swift has been crushing it, no reason to think, and Brian Thomas is a bona fide starter. Surprised he's still going with Juwan Jennings. I would kind of lean to get him out of there, but what are you going to do? Not really much on the bench. And Algier with the spot start in the flex. Not great signs of life here for this team. Bad bye week. Well, not really a bad bye week, but no Justin Jefferson. So that definitely hurts the Couch here. Rock Boys coming off a pretty down performance. I like a lot of these matchups, just kind of glancing down. Detroit shows no propensity to play good passing defense against CD Lamb. He's been super disappointing this year, but I think this could be a good week. Stephon Diggs against New England. Yeah, I don't have a great feel for that game, honestly. So, I mean, I think Diggs could be anywhere on the map there. I think Olave, you leave him, you give him a couple more weeks, but he's really not showing you the value that you want out of him. Andrews on the bench. I mean, not really. I mean, you can make an argument for Jerome Ford that Philly's rush defense has not been good. That defense just hasn't been good in general. So you can make an argument for starting Ford, but that Browns offense look equally as bad. So yeah, I don't hate this lineup for Josh. I think with the matchups, I'm going to pick Josh to win this one just because I like Kirk to go off again, CD to have a good game, Pollard to have a good game, comparatively to just some of the guys that Ryan has. I think that, yeah, I think Lamar is kind of going to be counteracted by Kirk a little bit just as far as points go. So yeah, I'm going to lean Rock Boys here for the win. I think these projections are both really low. I think this game maybe like 130, 125, something like that in favor of Josh. But these just feel really low. And then last game here, just to wrap this up quickly, we have Team Bucher versus Rearview Camera. These lineups are probably set, I assume, knowing these managers. High scoring affair lined up. Sticking with Purdy, looks like. Which is interesting because that Green Bay defense hasn't been good. But I think he expects a good bounce back spot for Purdy. Yeah, I mean, this game's kind of got to be decided tonight with the top 3 on Nick's team just being involved in this game. Garrett Wilson in the lineup. We'll see if he has back-to-back good ones. Buffalo's defense has not been fantastic this year. Yeah, I mean, up and down, Nick's got a great team, so no reason to think that he won't win this game. Just look at Ed. I think Daniels is awesome. That Cowboys defense is bad. Buffalo's defense is not good, so Brees should have a good game. Yeah, this is interesting, man. I like both these teams. I think the glaring issue for me in this is just Tank Dell on the flex. I know Ed doesn't really have a ton of options there. No, Nico Collins does help the cause a little bit, but just these teams kind of are pound for pound equals to each other, just with the strength that they have up and down their lineups. But just because it's just because it's Tank Dell versus Alvin Kamara on the flex, I'm gonna give the edge to Nick here. So I'm gonna go Bucher, Rock Boys, Milkman, Mike, Tyler, and then myself to win this week. So sorry, no guests. Sorry you had to hear me ramble the whole time. But next week we'll work on getting somebody on and getting this going for the right, get the vibes right for the second half of the year coming up here soon, which is actually next week is the halfway point. So I'll be a good assessment. Actually, while I'm thinking about this, let's take a look at the standings real quick. Oh, like I said, almost halfway through. Here's where we sit, points for. Yeah, obviously you can look at the standings how you want. But yeah, I mean, Rock was off to a hot start. All these teams up here put themselves in a really good position to get it done. And it's going to be a fight like it always is for these final spots. I think the Pizzle and Mind Goblin are kind of cementing themselves as the guys who have an uphill battle at this point to get themselves in the playoffs. Milkman's kind of running the direction as well, but has a good matchup this week. And yeah, so and myself, honestly, I know I have a lot of points for. I still don't love my team, and I think I'm going to be a cusp borderline playoff roster here myself. So yeah, it should be interesting to see that going and who's getting unlucky. So Mind Goblin's getting a little bit unlucky too. He is third to last in points for, but he's also giving up the most points. That doesn't really play defense. Same with Pizzle. Coleman finds himself kind of getting some bad luck because he's putting up fifth most points and kind of running into it a little bit. So interesting to see. We'll keep looking at that as the season goes on. But thanks for listening and good luck this week.